I got something for you.
You do? You
I,
always got
I
something up your
always got. I
sleeve,
always. Well, I mean,
Ryan.
it's got to be kind of off the cuff, or you can't plan this stuff, right?
True.
Oh, you can.
Well, I can.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
if you
You
want a
can. Oh my
reaction,
God! I knew you were going to do this. How did I know he's going to kill me? He's going to kill me. Do it. Play it. Play it. I could hear it.
so do tell.
Okay, so obviously the best part of the Leafs scoring a goal is Hall and Oates, So anytime
Sadly, yeah, it is.
I mean, as much as people hate the song, you grow to love it. I mean, I do anyway, or I did, I should say. So anytime they're on the road, anytime like it's a good game like tonight, I'm always just like, when they score, I want to hear it. So I'm always like, hey, Google, play whatever. But I actually have it. No, she's talking to me. But I got it set up now on my sound bar. That's literally just a button I press on my phone, and the song will play immediately. So
Oh, nice.
So we're
that was that.
Having a bad day at work, you just hit the old sound bar. And...
Literally.
So
and,
he's got sick moves. Yeah.
Oh, they're pretty sick.
Yeah.
They're pretty sick.
You had stomach flu. I mean, is that what brought it on?
Oh, literally.
Anyway,
we should record a TikTok video. That's what we should do.
Shout out to Adam.
He's gonna shoot.
He is gonna. He's gonna be
Hall and Oates and Adam.
Yeah, he has no shame. So
it's on that note, welcome to the Deke Snipe Silly Podcast. Your host, Kylie Murren, Chad Newman, and myself, Ryan Gates. You know, guys, I forgot to do that last time.
Really?
Yeah, I forgot.
What, the Dean one?
I forgot to introduce us. We're like, boom, we're like excited. We jumped into it, and I was like watching it that night when I was doing the editing, and I was like,
who are these people?
Who are these people? So it's something we always try to do, but hey, there's no real format to this, I guess. But
yeah, we're noobs. I mean, what do you expect? You already know us by now, I hope.
Yeah. Our three fans, they're gonna let us off with that one. So no, but I guess here's the setting. We're just all fresh off of a Leafs victory, Saturday night, Hockey Night in Canada.
The Habs.
David Ayers Appreciation Night. Well, we all needed that.
I just wanted it to stop.
It just put me in a bad mood from the get-go.
PTSD.
I mean, I like the story. I do. I like that Ayers, the whole kidney thing. I like the whole story. By the way, David, if you're watching this, check your messages. Because I messaged you 2 weeks ago. Anyway, dude, I love the story. I like the guy, but like it is total PTSD. I mean, I'm damaged from that night, and I was watching. I was like, it just put me in a bad mood for this game because I was like, oh, I got a bad feeling. And then they started off the game, and it was kind of like back and forth. And the first period it didn't bother me. I just didn't have a good feeling.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Yep. Going into the first intermission, I was still kind of like, oh, I don't know how this is going to go, right? And then second period, well, that's when the game actually started.
Yeah.
I don't know if it did, actually. I mean, I'm looking at the first period. I'm like, okay, this is good hockey. This is good defensive, at least reasonable. There's no, everyone's playing tight game and everyone else in the second. I was like, what is this? It's like, I mean, it's great for the fans, no doubt. It's one of those things. Oh yeah, no fans will like it. Coaches hate it. That whole cliche. But man, oh man, was it ever sloppy defensive hockey on both ends? It was just bad, and it wasn't exactly a goaltending clinic either. Let me tell you. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh well, I could have stopped those Austin Matthews shots. That's not the case.
But a Mitch Marner shot.
Yeah, but man, the two breakaways, I felt like Freddie got inside of his own head or something. Like he just didn't react. Like, and I've seen a lot of that this year at Fred. It's like, don't get me wrong, we're going to praise Fred up here. We love Freddie. But there are some times where I think he just psychs himself out before the shot. And it seemed like that's what it was tonight. He was like, oh no, I'm going to blow this game now. And then he was like, oh, I'm blowing the game here,
It's so funny you say that because I was literally saying it to Adam during the game. I said, it's like Freddie plays better under pressure, but not that kind of pressure, not when it's like one-on-one shootout penalty shot, breakaway. It's just like, oh God, when is it over? But when it's like they're at the end, I think it was at the end of the first period when it was just shot after shot after shot, and Freddie just kept the boys in it. That's when he excels, in my opinion.
Yep. Yeah.
When it's that kind of pressure.
Nice and cool, calm and collected.
Yes, he's just so laid back, and
Anti-panic.
I'm like, say, yes. And then I find with Hutch, it's almost the opposite, where a shot goes over his blocker or whatever, and he just kind of stays there. And then he's
There's
like,
a scramble.
Then he looks for it. And I'm like, oh my God, turn around.
I found James Romer back in the day used to be bad for that. He'd freeze for that extra second after the puck hit him.
And like wait, and like almost wait to see what, like wait for the crowd's reaction or to wait for the goal horn. And it's
just
like,
to see where everybody's moving.
Yeah. And then I'm just like, Jesus, the puck could be rolling over your shoulder, man. Like move, do something, right?
Well, I got a 3-year-old home, right? And like I'm trying to teach him how to catch a ball. And I compare, and I don't want to compare Freddie to a 3-year-old catching the ball, but
no.
The essence behind what I'm about to say is the same. When I toss the ball to my kid, when the ball's coming at him, he instantly closes his eyes, turns his head,
and turns.
Then after a few seconds, he looks and he's like, "No,
no ball." Yeah.
You know, and I feel like when there's a breakaway on Freddie, it's like he has that moment where he just
shuts his eyes.
Yeah, just freezes just a second and gets inside of his own head just for a second.
Brain fart.
I don't know. And that's why I felt it was tonight. But I mean, outside of that, what do we think of Fred's game tonight, Chad?
I like that. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, there was no real big ones that he should have just absolutely stopped. I'm just thinking of like when we watched the Matt Murray show the other night, where a lot of those could have been stopped. He never had anything like that. It was just a regular night at the office for Freddie.
Okay, contract year. Where are you sitting on that?
I'd say do us. I hope is already have scenarios on the table for him and see if he wants to sign them already. Because if you look at the goalie market out there, I don't want to be looking for one.
I'd be curious as to if conversations have started or not. I love that there's no news on it. That it's all whatever's happening is in house. But I mean,
keep it hush hush.
with a team that you know is going to be a contender, or hope to be a contender for the next 3 or 4 years, that's not a position that you want to toy with. No. I mean, maybe the Leafs are saying, you know what, we're ready to transition to Jack Campbell. Who knows? Maybe they want to ride it this season, give Campbell some quality starts. And because I got no question in my mind, Jack Campbell couldn't be a number 1 goalie in this league. I really think he could.
Same.
I don't know if he'd be amazing at it, but I really feel strongly that he's the best backup we've had he's the best backup we've had
years.
Do you think
my lifetime?
You think he can do 50 out of 82?
Man, I think he could do it smiling. You know,
really?
He was.
I'm not doubtful, but I'm like, I never thought about that hard for Jack Campbell himself.
He was such a great prospect and everything, and then going to where was he? LA. I mean, he was just in the shadow of Jonathan Quick, so he never ever really got
Martin
the
Jones
opportunity.
And everything before him.
Yeah, like he never really did get the opportunities that he probably should have gotten, and that's why he's kind of been under the rug, we'll say, or like, you know, kind of just in the corner.
Yeah, now, was he drafted by LA?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna look that up
because I always get him and Gibson mixed up, and I know there was one that was drafted by Dallas, and then
Jack Campbell. Well, his first NHL team was actually Dallas. It shows here, so you could be correct. And then he went right to LA the next year. Oh no, wait. No, he didn't even play that year. Or wait, was that the strike year, perhaps?
No, I think because the reason I remember that is because I was hot to trot on Jack Campbell after the World Juniors, if I'm not mistaken as well.
That's how I knew him.
He was the goalie of record for one of the U.S. gold medals.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, he was he was back in the
and
day.
I remember watching him at the draft and thinking, man, someone's going to get a good goalie here. Someone's getting a number 1 goalie. And I was pretty sure it was Dallas who took him. I was thinking, wow, Dallas, you know, it's going to be a bit of a hotbed. They had some good goalies at the time as well. Don't ask me who.
He played 1 game for the Dallas Stars, actually. He was with their AHL team for years. He must have got drafted back in 2011-12. He played in the AHL for the Texas Stars, played 1 game for Dallas Stars. Then the following year, again, back in the AHL, even had some ECHL games.
Like and then
And then it looks like he probably, then he was traded to LA in 2016, 2017 and played with their AHL team for a year or so and then made the leap to the big club.
But when you look
Where
at the
he-
group that we have, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off at Camel.
No, go.
Oh, go for it.
If you look at where the team is now, with the core and the extras and veterans, do you really want to take a gamble in net right now?
I don't.
I
really
don't.
No.
I want to see Freddie for the next 4 years.
Okay, well, let me put it to you this way. With the cap being as it is, likely being flat, and Freddie looking for likely a raise, who would you rather have, Campbell and Zach Hyman or Freddie and no Hyman? Because it might come down to that sort of a decision. Because if anybody's getting a raise here, Zach Hyman is getting at least double his salary. He's looking at $4 or $5 million.
I will, and this is no disrespect. I love Zach Hyman. I will choose Freddie because goalies are way too rare right now.
100%.
There's zero market right now, and there's a lot of teams out there that are waiting and hoping that Freddie goes like UFA.
Yeah, it goes on the
Praying for it.
market.
Edmonton will pay big money.
My opinion with Hyman is I feel like he wants to remain a Leaf. So he seems like the type of person, especially just after having a new baby. Does he want to uproot his family and move to, I don't know, Dallas, we'll say?
He's another Toronto boy.
I think he wants to stay. So he's the type of player, in my opinion, I think that would take that hometown discount. Should he? No. Is it fair to him? No. But how bad do you want to stay? Sign a bridge or two, or for a year or two, make, a couple $1 million, whatever he's making now, until maybe hopefully the cap goes up.
Yeah.
Well, he's due for a raise no matter what. He's not going to sign for what he's making now or less. I don't think.
What is his cap hit right now? I know it's not
just
much.
over $2 million. It's not.
Whatever
it is.
What do you pay Zach Hyman though? In this
At least
salary,
he scored 20 goals last year, right? Anybody who's scoring 20 goals in the NHL is a $4 million player generally.
I
at
agree.
least, right?
At least.
And if he was slotted up there on that top line with Marner and Matthews, he'd pop in another 20 in another 82 game season. I don't doubt it. He's durable. He kills penalties. Like when you're talking about contract negotiations, like it's a lot. Like I've been talking recently, and we'll get to Galchenyuk in a little while, but I've been talking to a lot of my friends who are Habs fans, and I don't have a lot of friends who are Habs fans because I generally don't like Habs fans. I'm just kidding. I do. I got a lot of buddies who are Habs fans. We dig at each other. But I've been chatting a lot with them about the Galchenyuk thing. And one of my buddies, he's actually my manager at work. I asked him about Galchenyuk. He's diehard Habs fan, and he said, there's a reason why teams are passing on him, and it's not what everybody might think. I was like, okay, do tell, because I'm always looking for the outside scoop. And he said, a lot of the reason why Galchenyuk is getting passed up on is not because of attitude or necessarily the commitment or anything else, but it's that he doesn't bring any of the other intangibles to a team that a player like a Zach Hyman would. He's not a power play lock, so he can play the power play, but he's not one of your stars. He doesn't kill penalties. He's not really a special teams guy. He's not a defensive stalwart. You're not putting him out there as a shutdown late in the game. Nope. He is a pure goal scorer. That's it. That's what he does. He can put the puck in the net, and
he's another Jimmy Vesey, essentially.
He's more talented Jimmy Vesey. Jimmy Vesey will never score 20 goals in this league.
No, but I mean, if he can replace Jimmy Vesey,
yep, I agree.
I'm happy with that.
We'll get to that. Yeah,
sorry.
But anyway, that's where I was going with the whole bit. Right? Is it's just a hard sell for me. I don't know. Losing a guy like Hyman, I guess we're getting back to, who brings all the intangibles. Like when the goalie's pulled for the other team, who are you 110% going to see on the ice? And it's not because he's the empty net wizard, which he is. He puts his body in front of the puck. He blocks. He's physical. He'll drop the mitts if he got to. He kills penalties. He's a clutch guy. You'll put him out there in any situation. And those guys are not growing on trees either.
Nope.
No.
I know this, and that's like a rock and a hard spot if if it comes down to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I really gotta say, like, you get someone to play closer to Zach Hyman than you will Freddie Anderson, because it's not like you can just pick a goalie and hey, let's just go do this. You need a hot goalie if you ever want to win anything. Zach Hyman, you do need those guys too, but not right now.
prior to Matthew Tkachuk jumping on Jack Campbell's head, I think the plan this season, I'm not saying that's why he's out injured. He got injured before that, but didn't help. I think the plan this season was really to give Jack Campbell the lion's share of that backup role. He never really got a chance at it properly last year, I don't think.
No.
So I think you would have seen him giving Freddie a lot of those nights off. Certainly in this condensed schedule, I think you would have seen him 2 games a week every week. I really do think that they would have.
I don't know. Freddie's a 50+ goalie a year, so I don't know. It's hard to say because Freddie wants to play every game.
Right, like I was saying earlier.
And where did that get us in the playoffs?
I feel like Freddie plays his best when he is, like I said, almost overworked. And I know that comes from experience, but like I said, look at October. Freddie is always trash, and
he's cold, right?
I agree.
He's cold.
But
I feel like
game 7, Freddie is not nothing to get excited about either, and that's pretty late in the season.
It'd be nice to have someone we can depend on, because having Hutch, you can't depend on him. No offense to him, but it's not just him; it's the team that plays in front of him when he's in the net. It's a different
he didn't play too bad the other night.
No, he didn't. He really didn't, and the team helped too.
And the posts helped a lot as well.
Oh, the posts, yeah.
Oh, man.
We'll not even talk about that, but
they don't count as shots.
They don't count as shots. I don't count people with opinions about the post as opinions.
Austin Matthews off. He does hit a lot of them, and I will complain about that. I'll admit that.
Fire down though.
Did you know that the funny thing was though they had Joseph Wall back up Hutch the other night, so Freddie didn't even go to the rink.
No, full night off.
No, he stayed home.
At one point, I thought Hutch was hurt. Remember, there was like a point where he was down, not hurt, but like they were saying something about it on the broadcast, of course, making everybody panic. And that's what I was actually wondering. I was like, would Freddie come in now? Like, who would back him up?
Shouldn't that Wall come in?
It was the same thing,
had David Ayers.
Yeah. It was the same thing.
I thought we were going to have another e-bug the other night, and I was panicking. I did not want another game like that. PTSD. It's a real thing.
In Calgary, when Campbell started, Freddie wasn't in the rink either. He was home, or at least. Yep. Yeah. They had.
He stays away.
They had Aaron Dell still back then. He was the backup that night.
He needs to fully disconnect for his night off. A night off got to be a real night off.
That's what they're saying. They said, is it truly a night off and a relaxing night if your goalie's at the end of the bench looking for stray pucks and opening and closing the door?
Right.
So I think that they're doing the right thing. Give the man time to put his feet up, soak whatever wounds you got, because you got them by now. If you look at shots faced in the NHL, I think Freddie was 3rd last time I checked.
Yeah.
He's facing a lot of rubber, right? Because we're getting outshot repeatedly.
Getting had a bit of contact as well.
Freddie thing that you were just saying though about Hyman or Freddie, that's my argument almost when it comes to there's a billion other goalies out there or whatever. Yes, but how many goalies can take the pressure and the shit taken essentially that Freddie takes? Because, or I can't say now because this team is different, but we'll say last year going, you know what I mean? Like, he takes a lot of shots. And he keeps us in the game.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know. Yeah, a lot of goalies are out there that have better save percentages or whatnot.
$5 million.
Can they take? Would they be able to take that kind of, I don't know, quote unquote abuse, and still be a high caliber goalie?
We're going to have a great conversation in podcasts to come, because I'm very, very much pro Jack Campbell, #1 goalie for Toronto Maple Leafs. Very much.
Okay with
I have seen nothing. I've seen nothing yet to tell me he couldn't do it.
Same.
I appreciate your optimism. You haven't seen him actually be it yet, and that's the thing.
That's what we
haven't
need.
seen by extended games. Freddie has not been out, and he has never carried this team anywhere yet. So
no,
you know who else? You know who else we never ever seen as a #1 goalie? Freddie Anderson when he signed with Toronto. He was only ever a backup.
That's my argument.
It was more of a tandem. He was more of a tandem because of Jonas Hiller. And where Hiller had that vertical thing.
That's, I think, their plan with the two of them.
I really do think you're going to see a tandem set up this year to see who get a proper evaluation. What have we got here? What have we actually got here? What have we got? One in Campbell, obviously, but also what have we got in Freddie? And at the end of it, this is a contract year for him. He's playing with a bunch of his best friends. I mean, they're all best buddies. What do we actually have here?
I love this tandem of Freddie and Jack Campbell.
Oh my God!
Me too.
Keep it together if possible.
But it's probably not gonna happen.
we've got Campbell next year anyway. He's not UFA totally following, but yeah, I really hope that they can figure out a way to keep Freddie in the fold, because while he's never ever in the Vezina conversation, I think he's always just
should
just
be.
outside
He
of it.
almost was
No.
there about 2 seasons ago. I think he was
Well,
on
he
the
was
brink of the
he was
conversation.
he was knocking on the door, yeah. Just again, just outside the
Yeah.
conversation, basically. Don
Yeah,
Cherry
he
was
got
ready to
his
give it to him, but
Yeah.
he got his first All-Star nomination this past year too. So he's finally getting the recognition I think he deserves, and not just
Mhm.
because he plays for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
well,
Which I feel like that's why a lot of times they don't get the recognition, because people are almost afraid to give it to them because, oh, well, that's just because you're a Leafs, whatever.
Yeah.
is that your best Boston Bruins fan imitation?
Don't even get me started. Boston.
Well, we started at goal. Let's work our way out. Let's talk about defense. We got a back end right now that, in my opinion, is the best one I've seen in. I don't know if it might not even be one of the best defensive cores I've seen it. Now, don't get me wrong. Before everyone jumps on this and says, "Oh, Ryan said that the Leafs got one of the best defensive cores in the league," I'm not saying that. I am saying there's probably 15 other teams that are worse at a minimum.
Okay.
I looks around the league and I skips through who the second and third pair of defensemen are, and some of the good names I don't even know. So, like, there's a lot of new bodies, a lot of young people in the league. When I look at the 6 that skated tonight in particular, which we had our top 2, which is a given, Brody and Riley. Then we had our steady of all steadies in Muzzin and Hull,
Best.
and Bogosian and Dermott, who, let me tell you, are not getting nearly enough praise either.
No.
And when I say third pair, I mean all of our third pairs. We've rotated through. Well, Sandine had a game, but we've rotated through Lettinen, got him into the game. I mean, we've had a very serviceable bottom 2, reliable bottom 2. Keefe doesn't seem to have any issue throwing Bogosian and Dermott out there anytime at all.
No, I noticed that tonight, actually.
So I'd like to get your guys' take on the defense, where we're to with it, and who's. I mean, we gave Justin Hall a lot of love back in, I don't know, episode 2 probably.
Yeah. And he still can if you want to.
Who's standing out
He
to you
still
the
deserves
most?
all of it.
What about now, Kyle? Throw it to you first.
Who's standing out the most?
Yeah, recently. I mean, we've had some really good games lately. Let's scratch that blowout.
Jake Muzzin.
Yeah.
Jake Muzzin. Tonight was probably the only game in the past few weeks, at least, that I can, in recent memory, that he didn't do anything bad, but he didn't really stand out either. When most other nights it's like play after play, But Muzzin, and of course, Hull is still getting all the love. But I do want to say
number 2.
Yeah, like Bogosian.
You can't say them all, Carly. That's cheating.
No, I'm not giving him no, this is not a good Bogosian. This is a bad Bogosian. I don't know what to say about him. At times I'm enjoying him. Other times I find myself screaming at my TV. So, yeah, Here's that.
He's chippy. He's going to take a few risks.
For a big man that he is, it's not even really his risks, because he gives back in time, and I'm like, okay, I'll forgive you for that one. But it's like, you're a big old burly man. Use your damn body. Like, how often do I see him, like a player, go down in the corner and he's just stood up, like, just watching him? I'm like, just do something.
He will
take him off the puck. Do something.
Totally.
Use that big ass of yours.
And he's staying healthy. It's good.
I still think he's one of our more physical defensemen, though. I mean,
I feel like
if
at first
not our
he
most
was
physical.
But the last little bit is just like, what
Muzzin,
happened? I don't know. And that's why I was like, ugh, because I was so excited about him at first. Like, he was like a good surprise. Like, oh, I didn't expect this from him. But the last few games I've been kind of disappointed.
Oh yeah.
Okay, fair. Chad, what's your standout D-man?
I've been loving Jake Muzzin as well. The guy, I mean, he's has 12 points, 19 games, plus 6, and he's doing like 20, 22 hard minutes a night. I just think he's when he came over, I was like, okay, cool. I like Jake Muzzin. And this year for me, it's just, man, I've been blown away with him this year. Him and Hall together, it's just been such a force. That's just a winning combo to me.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm gonna go a little off the board, but it's an obvious choice. I think their best defenseman all year, every game except one, every game has been TJ Brody. I
Yeah.
think
Oh,
what he's brought to the team as a steadying, just because Riley has not been that great this year. He has not been well. He hasn't been. I wouldn't say Riley's been a bad player, but like he hasn't been Norris Trophy Riley we've seen a couple of years ago, and he hasn't even
No.
been last year's
he's been
short season Riley.
disappointing.
He's been
It hasn't been that since Hainsey left, so
yeah. Well, this is true, but TJ Brody, man. I mean, he's calm and cool in his own end. Like there tonight, I noticed 2 or 3 times, at least twice. Got the puck behind his net, and he had wingers coming on both sides in red and blue jerseys, and he didn't panic. He did a little
no.
button hook, curled back around, passed it to his partner once the guys got in tighter, and then they just broke it out. Like I just when I see a defenseman behind the net, I still get these Brett Lebda kind of panic moments where I'm like, oh my God, this is not going to end well. But like, there's no reason it shouldn't, because a good defenseman just patiently moves the puck to a safe location and doesn't just handle it like a grenade with a pin out, right?
Like Jake Gardner.
Yeah.
So many times he lose the puck behind our own net, and then we get scored on.
Oh,
Just stand there stick handling, and the guy just comes up and takes it.
And just takes it like.
yeah. No,
Okay.
I've watched a lot of bad defensemen over the years, like the Aki
Oh
Bird.
yeah.
Brett
Oh
Leb does it.
God! Don't even say that name.
Brett
That
Lebda.
name is
Like,
cursed from his channel.
Can't believe you brought up. I can't believe you brought up Brett Lebda this evening. I wasn't
Yeah,
expecting
where'd
that.
that come from? I forgot he even existed.
Well, I got a urinal in my garage with a picture of Lebda on it, because I'm just kidding. But no,
I was gonna say.
I used to, he used to give
Hanging
me
on to
fits.
it.
He used to give me
Yeah.
fits, and I can't remember who he was paired with either, but it was no help. Like it was bad. It might have been
Probably
Commissaric.
Jake Gardner. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it
No,
was
before that. It's pre-Gardner.
No, no, no.
it was
pre-Gardner
Commissaric, I
times.
think, at the time.
Oh,
In
God.
any case, it was bad, and like it was just total fire drill all the time. And seeing a guy like Brody back there who's just so cool,
Yeah.
all the time, and he's just cool. That's it.
His
And-
dives. His dives
and-
are perfect.
And he
Pretty much almost every time.
Yeah, I know where you're in love with the dive. We get it. Teaching that in hockey schools. and
Fellow
everything.
defenseman here, defensewoman. Sorry.
Defense person.
Defense person. I
Oh, you gotta
appreciate those
get it-
things.
Get it politically correct. No, that's where I'm gonna throw my love. Like I said, even his pinches and everything, he's never a poor pinch. He's not afraid to jump up into play if he's got to, but he leaves that mostly to Riley. When he does jump up, it's at exactly the right time where he's not putting his team at a disadvantage. So that's
I
my
like
guy.
Riley.
I'm gonna stick with him for now. We'll see how it goes, but I think that's the fact that we've got 2 defensemen in Muzzin and Brody that we didn't have 3 years ago. I'll tell you a lot
Yeah.
about where the team has come defensively. So there we have it. And let's talk about forwards. So we got 3 lines of forwards, and we've got the third line. So
let's discuss
forward line. So I don't think we need to spend way too much time on the top line. They're right now, and I don't care if you're a Leafs fan or not, they're one of the best lines in hockey.
Oh my God.
If not
best
the best
duo. I don't care. They're coming for you, Draisaitl and McDavid. The
Well,
Eminem.
Yeah.
Matthews had 4 points tonight and 4 last night. Marner had what, 4?
He got his
3?
21st assist tonight. I know that.
Yeah, he had 3 points anyway tonight. Again, two
Yeah.
goals and assists. Thornton
Unreal.
plugged in another point tonight
Unstoppable.
to go along with the 4 he had previously. The boys are just dialed in, and I know tonight is a bit of a, you can't really say all that line produced because 2 of the goals were on the power play, but
Mhm.
even when they weren't producing, they
Yeah.
had some really great shifts, dominant shifts. So you're not seeing them getting hemmed in their own end, and a lot of that is thanks to, again, good breakouts by the defenseman and guys like Joe Thornton who can handle the puck as well as he could when he was 20 years old. You know, they're moving the puck incredibly well.
Did you guys notice that Nylander was benched tonight? I forgot to bring. I'm sorry, this is totally
I
like
did
off
not,
topic,
actually.
but
When was
talking
that?
about the forwards, he was actually benched, and I get notifications when Mark Master tweets. Sorry, I'm a nerd, but he
Okay.
actually has
You
here
are.
Sheldon Keefe on benching Nylander because I said I haven't seen Nylander out of it. That was in the third period.
I noticed he was on the third
And-
line a couple times.
Yeah, and then I noticed in the third period, I know he was doing a little bit of shuffling, but then I was like, I haven't seen Nylander, but I just didn't know if, something was going on or whatever. And anyway, it says here, both tonight and last game, he's had a lot of really good stretches where he's had good legs and he looks real dangerous, like he's ready to break out. In the third period, we got it going the way we wanted to, and I don't think Willie matched that.
Really?
And I've made excuses. I've gotten in so many arguments on Facebook or whatever, just picking up for William Nylander. But I can't do it anymore.
Again,
I'm done. Sorry, Willie. I had your back, but these past few
No.
games, it's just been I can't make excuses for the reason why you're out there figure skating. Like, I can't.
I know I want every player to be 60 minutes, and I think last game when everyone was giving Willie crap, it was really only the third period he was,
Yeah.
being that drag again. But the other two periods, I think he's fine. He's doing lots of good things. He's just not finishing all the good things, and he's not
And
getting
it's
rewarded for
what
the good things.
what's frustrating though, and I see it now because it's people who watch him and they watch him when he's on the ice. That's all they do is watch him. So
Yeah.
they see every little mistake he makes. So the last couple of games, I've been doing that to myself. Okay, where's Willie? Like, I'm watching him go around the ice. It's sad. Like,
Yeah.
he'll go and try to get the puck and he'll get it, lose it, and then he just gives up. He just watches the guys skate away the opposite way. Like, it's so noticeable. It's embarrassing. And it's just like, I can't make excuses for it anymore. Only thing I can assume is something's going on. I don't know what. Or he's just lazy. I don't know. Or is
Second
it
line
because
broken,
JT's not himself? I don't know. Is it?
I think you're
or
being
maybe it's the
a
line.
little hard on him,
I
but
may be. Okay, maybe I
I
am.
will
But
agree that he's had, I'm gonna say 4 game stretch. I know he went like 8 games with scoring, whatever. But that's, hey,
yeah.
sometimes you're gonna go 8 games, sometimes you're gonna go 5 games, whatever. I
Yeah.
don't
You can
worry
make
about
an
that.
impact though without scoring.
Exactly.
Right? So
What's been troubling me lately is his lack of engagement the last 2 or 3 games. I just don't like that pass he made tonight to the other team where they broke in and almost scored. He made a decent effort to try to get back
He
after
did,
he
yeah.
noticed his
He
mistake. I'll
did.
give him that, because
Yeah.
2 years ago, Nylander would have skated to the bench. I'm like, well. So at least he was like, oh crap, and he hustled to get back
Tried
into it.
to. Yeah.
And to a point disrupted it somewhat, at least.
Tried to.
Yeah, he at least got back to the forward.
did,
But
yeah.
what really troubled me, and I know I'm gonna hear it from maybe from you guys, but the other night when Brady Tkachuk was on top of Alex Kerfoot by the bench, cross-checking him in the back into the ice, Nylander stood up next to Tkachuk while he was doing it and literally turned 180 degrees, just casually skated in the opposite direction. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't expect Willie to drop the gloves. He should never in his NHL career drop the gloves. However, go in there and bear hug the guy. Go push him
Do
off.
something.
Because at least by the time William Nylander jumps on top of a guy, a defenseman is going to come in and say, whoa, I got to save Willie before he dies.
I
Right?
think
Right.
Brady's Chuck is going to let him off that easy. He's
Well,
going to relish in that, and any chance he can get,
I
he's
don't
going to make Willie crap his pants.
disagree. I don't disagree, but you just cannot.
You can't leave.
You can't turn around and go away. Like, do something. Face wash, something. I don't care what it is, anything at all. Just show that you've noticed that your teammate is getting pummeled into the ice with two-handers. And that's
Have
what
your
really
teammates back.
that's
And
what
then they'll
really
have
troubled me.
yours.
I know not every player is going to be doing those things, and Willie's certainly not.
No, but he could at least get in and rub shoulders with him or something. At least
It's not going to happen,
engage.
guys.
I know,
I
but
know.
that's the problem with him. If he's being paid this kind of money, they are even making fun of him on the broadcast, essentially. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
he's a freaking joke. He's a joke.
Listen,
He's
for
getting
his
paid
$7
like
million,
$8 million bucks, whatever it is. It's just like,
for $7 million, he's going to go out there. He's going to score you 30.
is he though?
Yeah.
I hope.
Typically, I think that this year
Yeah.
is kind of like it's not working with Tavares, and
It's not.
I mean,
He's
if
like
you
the
look at
first
it,
person I've
Tavares.
seen in history to ever say that.
What?
It's not. No,
I mean,
but
Matt
I think
Molson made it work with Tavares, right? PA Parento could score 30 with Tavares. Like, what?
But here it is.
But the thing
Nylander
is,
lost
Tavares
Matthews.
is off.
Tavares lost Marner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
I've
like
said that
two
too.
huge players, like that could make anybody.
Well, look at last
a good
game.
line mate.
Keith put Tavares back with Marner, and he scored. And
Yeah.
Nylander scored too,
No.
didn't he? I'm not sure who he was.
If you look
Nylander
at
scored as
JT's
well.
goal, if you look at JT's goal and you put that in slow motion, it's going to take you up to commercial break to get into the net. It was a muffin. It was floating through the
Yeah.
air, so it's not like it was a skilled goal here. That was a
No.
goalie error.
It was
And
They were
lucky.
talking about not getting enough to Schneid, and I don't think that helped really.
No,
Like,
'cause
it
that
went,
wasn't-
it went in, but it wasn't. It
But it
never went
wasn't a
in.
JT goal.
No, it wasn't one of those. He worked hard. He dug it out of the corner. He went to
No.
the front net and tipped it where he would have went
He wasn't
two
satisfied with
hands,
that.
boom. You know.
that's not a slump breaker. No.
So we're on to JT.
Same with Willie.
We're talking about JT. Kylie, I know you've been
Mhm.
keeping a tally, somewhat of a tally, for a couple of games. What have you been tallying off?
His lovely giveaways. Tape,
Yeah.
not just giveaways, but tape to tape passes giveaways. Not just saucer, pizza right up the ice. This is, I mean, like Willie did tonight, pass to the
That's
other.
blatant. Oh yeah.
Blatant. Now tonight I didn't keep track.
No, I
because-
know. And the only reason I brought it up is because I had noticed it too before, because you mentioned it there the other day, just in general chat outside of the
Mhm.
podcast, that you had noticed all the, and you had actually took a tally while you were watching the game. You had
I did.
4 mind-blowing turnovers.
Bad ones.
Not
Bad
even
ones.
turnovers, giveaways.
Yeah.
And tonight again, I seen 2 that I was like, JT, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Playing it on the backhand out, across the ice in your own end. Like, what are you
That-
doing?
That's
Yeah.
actually one of the notes that I had wrote there by JT and his
Scary
giveaways
one.
was the backhand. Stop
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
He hasn't been. There's something, and like I said, I gave JT a lot of praise early in the season on this podcast about how well he was
Deservedly so.
playing, how and
Yeah.
he
But he
came-
deserved it though.
Yeah, he came out like a rocket. Do I think
Doing
that this little mini slump or whatever was going on was going to last till the playoffs? Or no, of course not. He's
It's
too
not
good a
going
player.
to.
There's something not quite right. There's a little bit of chemistry needs to be obtained, or a little bit of shuffling needs to be done, whatever it is. And he's to get out of his own head. That's his only trouble. He's still one of the best centers that we've had in the last 20 years in the league, and he's on our
Mhm.
second line. So I'm not worried about him, but it's just something worth noting. And it's really funny that you guys took note to it as well, without any of us discussing it, that this is a noticeable difference in John Tavares. Is his panic mode, right?
See, I wish Wayne Simmons was here. I don't think we'd be talking about this.
You really think that
agree.
he'd have that big of an impact on JT?
Yeah, I do. And like if he put what he brings that Nylander doesn't, and JT, I mean, he brings enough for all 3 of them, and he can
And
carry a line, especially with that energy and grit and effort.
the energy and just the fact you have someone out there who got your back, because like
Well,
you said,
Willie
Nylander
would love to have that.
doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, so having that man there maybe gives them a little bit more, I don't know, confidence, and not just JT, but Willie too, or anybody on the team, because you actually got someone that'll drop the gloves for you.
that's right.
And now that and it's funny because now that he's gone, it's like the team looks like last year's team.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I just want Simmons on the bench while he's hurt, and just to
Can he do
yell at
that?
people.
Yeah.
Can
Just
he
yell at
be
everybody,
there?
frighten everybody. It's like, I'm still here, bitches. Let's go.
Yeah, go out on the ice in his friggin' sneakers. I don't care. And start pounding people.
Yeah.
Morgan Riley's response when they asked about what he thought of Wayne Simmons, and then Riley was like, even without teams, he said he's absolutely terrifying. Like he's on your
what I want.
team. Yeah, I
Get him
know.
on the bench.
I can't
Well,
disagree with you guys.
We needed somebody with that kind of impact. Like we have Joe there now, yes, for we'll
The
say off the
leadership,
ice. Yeah, the off the
mentorship.
ice, the leadership.
Cheerleader
like
is
the
what you're
big-
trying to say.
Yeah, the big brother cheerleader person.
Mm.
And then they brought in Wayne because Jumbo can't be that physical presence that we still lacked. And so they bring in the Wayne train, and everybody's like, "Oh, well, he's all right." He's all right." No, it's not about what he can do on the ice, like produce. It's what he can bring.
Firing up his own
to,
team, man.
Yes, to liven up the boys, and it
Just
worked.
wake up.
But now that he's gone, it's like shit. They're reverting back to Babcock Leafs, like these friggin' drop passes and no look backhanders, sloppy.
Yeah, remember Babcock, who looked at Mariner Matthews and said, "There's no way that could work."
Yeah,
no.
I know.
Remember that guy?
Pure
I
stubbornness.
love it.
What a
Makes me so happy.
like. I mean, you didn't need to be a NHL coach to
Asshole.
realize that even if it might not have been amazing or even the best choice for the team, it would definitely be worth trying
Yeah.
once or
Well,
twice.
It's
to
just the
see.
chemistry that they have. Like,
You know,
it's
like they're not
just
going to be bad together. They
unreal.
might not be amazing, but they might not.
I mean, I get it. They're good enough to drive their own lines, but what if they work amazing together? Like one of the best duos in history, possibly. if he wanted to. He'd keep them together long enough.
They are. I don't.
I wouldn't break them up for the next 5 years
Oh
personally.
my God, no.
Not even if we're up 7-2 and you want to try to get Tavares. I'm like, nope, Tavares, figure it yourself. I don't want to take any chances that we lose chemistry here. You know,
Yeah.
but I mean that's being a bit of dramatic.
You can't break them up to make somebody else work.
No, you got to figure it
I
out.
agree.
Certainly not your second line.
I mean, bringing
No.
up the whole Babcock thing and his lovely mistakes. I mean, just Justin Hall is another one. He benched the guy for the entire season. They said today was his 100th game tonight.
Yeah.
It was his 100th game, his 4
Yeah.
years in the league, but he just played his 100th game. Best defenseman we have, essentially. Not the best, but one of the best.
One of. No,
Yeah,
no
one of.
question.
Contract wise, pound for pound, absolutely.
I just wish Babcock
I thought it was a
would've been
bad contract at
canceled
the
long
beginning
ago.
of the year.
No, and actually Adam was someone who was on the trade block for him. He's like, oh, Hull needs to go. Hull needs to go. He wanted to keep Dermott over Hull.
Well, me too. When I was looking at a cap strap team who could barely fit enough players to ice a full team, and I'm looking at Justin Hall on our defensive core at $2 million, I'm like, no, that's not going to work. That's money we can shed. And now I'm like, woo,
he's lived up
it
to
can be
that.
expensive next time.
Every freaking penny.
Yep.
And you know, we haven't had to deal with Marty Marinson at all this year
Thank
or anything like that yet.
Merv can stay on the taxi and go right back to.
Oh, he'll show his face someday.
He will.
Inevitable.
Shh. Knock on wood, guys. Knock on everything you have.
Yeah.
He'll be the next
Indeed.
$2 million phenom.
So we've talked a lot around the game. What about the actual game itself? So we went 3 for 3 on the power play tonight. Ridiculous.
Yes.
Right?
It was a good power play tonight.
Making Carey Price look bad all year.
Matthews scored his 18th of the season in 18 games. Like, I got this thing now, and I don't want to stop doing it because I'm afraid it'll jinx it. So, like, every time he scores, I go on and would find my wife wherever she is in the house. She usually watches the tail end of the game, but usually at the beginning, first period, which is when Matthew scores all of his goals. She's usually finishing up a workout in her gym, or she's usually finishing put the kids to bed or whatever. So I have since the beginning of the year, wherever she's been to, I was like, no, none of that. Just go and say Matthew scored. And she's like, really, again? And so I've been keeping that going, and like she's even to the point now where she's like, this is just getting ridiculous. Are you serious? And like she doesn't even follow it nearly as much as me. So I mean, big shout out to Matthews. Okay, honest opinion. Honest, not what you'd like to see happen, not what you hope happens. Let's not talk about Rocket Richards or any of that. He's if continuing on the pace he's on, he's a lock for that by about 20 goals. Can he keep the pace? And is 50 and 50 a possibility? Do you think it could happen to our guy?
I'll go first.
You go first.
I called it before the season started.
Shut up. You never said it. Maybe you did.
Swear to God, go back, check our messages. I definitely said it to you guys. I definitely tweeted it. And I know I said it to Adam. He'll have my back because he said I was crazy. And I was like, 50-50.
You sent a video of Adam dancing. He's not going to have your back for nothing. Right?
Did you just say something?
Nope.
Nope. Negative. 50 and 50. Okay, you're on the bandwagon. I like it. I'm starting to lean that way. I used to say it jokingly, like, yeah, he can do it. Now I'm like, shit, he could do it. Like, I mean, if he puts up another like couple 2-goal games next week out of the 4 they got to play, he could do it. Like he's ridiculous.
My reasoning for thinking he was going to do it, and I honestly said it before I thought about or like realized that there was way less games this season. I said it because of how close he was last year to 50 goals. And then once, because I was like, oh, he's getting 50 again this year. And then Adam was like, yes, but there's only 56 games or whatever it is. And I'm like, oh, right. But I bet you he could still get 50 goals. Like
what always stands out to me when we're talking about Matthews is like when we're talking about Matthews creeping up on records. It's like, oh yeah, Matthews is second now to Soy Apps or Conn Smythe. You know, it's like I'm like
pretty big names.
What? Like in the modern era of the NHL, we have a player who's putting up points and
such as Conn Smythe.
Yeah, comparables to the greats who played in an era where there was no butterfly goalies, where the goalies stood up and if the puck went in their feet, well, it went in the net. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm not trying to disregard any of the Sittlers of I'm not trying to talk that stuff down, But when you've got a guy in the modern NHL with all the stick technology and the goaltending coaching and the speed of the game, the pace of the game, who's putting up numbers comparable to when guys used to show up at the arena drunk to play
Yeah.
hockey, like you got to really shake your head and be like, how good is this guy? You know, like
I agree.
really, how good is he? You know, and when I ask myself that question, I'm like, 50-50 is possible if he's that good,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, in the shortened season and with a Canadian division and facing the same teams this many times, definitely, I think it's possible.
Mhm.
Will he do it? If he doesn't, he's going to be awfully close unless he gets hurt. And I don't want to say that.
That's
I'm
the
not
only.
superstitious.
I know.
But if he's always had this, what, like 8 to 10 game slump every year, he
Mm.
goes for that stretch. And I always said if he never had that slump, I mean, what kind of numbers is he going to put up? And if
He
he
never
doesn't
had-
get it
he-
this year, there's no
ne-
signs of it
And
even coming anywhere.
He never
correct
really
me
had
if I'm
Marner for a full
wrong.
season, right?
Correct
Exactly.
me if I'm wrong
So
too, but last year was the first year that he didn't
why
have
not?
any time missed as well.
Yeah.
Right? Because like his other first few years in the season, he missed a bit of time with injury. So
And you have that little cold
this,
snap too.
yeah, and like now he did all this training this summer with
Yeah, the Ian
dropping
Mack
his
stuff.
weight and blah blah blah, and it's just I don't know. He's different,
say
and I
why
feel
not?
like he got the drive to do it because he was so freaking close last year to getting it that I feel like that's what's making him almost want to do it even more.
So
He's so committed to his shot. Like every year he
Mhm.
practices and
my,
trains so much to keep it elusive.
my question
it's
to Chad,
working.
then my question on 34 to Chad will be, is he on a heater? Is there such thing as a 18 game heater? Or is he really just that good?
I think he's that good. He's like that shot is not just working sometimes. That's his shot. He owns that. That's something he has in his arsenal. That doesn't go away unless you get injured and you can't do it properly.
Hmm. Uh,
I agree.
You know, you don't forget how to do that. That's him. That's what he does.
what shocks me is when they start talking about his last 80 games and when they start throwing those stats out. Let's talk about his last 80 games. If you were to go back over his last 80 games, he has like 70 something goals. Like it's maybe not those numbers, but it's something ridiculous like that. I remember they mentioned it a couple of games back before he had 3 more 2-goal games. They were like,
Yeah.
oh, and then in Matthews' last 86 games, he scored 67 goals. And I was like, what? Stretching back over last year, which makes sense because he was on a 40 game heater last year. You know what I mean?
I'm literally looking at that right now.
It's
80
it's
games.
ridiculous. Like I'd like to know what his 82 game pace is right now going backwards. If you were to go back 82 games from tonight, how many goals has that man scored in the last 82 games? Then you'll know
All
if
right,
he's a 50,
Callie.
60 goal scorer or not.
All right, I'm gone back 80 games.
Sure.
Okay, no. Okay, actually, it's gone back 88 games played.
That'll
I
do.
just fooled with the stats, the filter. Sorry. In 88 games played, he has 65 goals,
It's all right.
44 assists for 109 points, and he's
Yeah.
a plus 28.
Now, if he can figure out how to get this assist thing down, like, I mean, he has a shot, and I don't care if he ever does get the assist thing down so much.
His points
But-
per game is 1.24, so he's already
God,
scoring
man.
at a point per game in his last 80.
Well, if Marner can work on his shot, Matthews can work on his assists.
Let's see what Marner's is.
Not that I'm saying he's not good enough. I mean,
No,
Is that,
no, but I
is
mean,
that taking-
Mitch,
shoot.
Mitch has obviously worked on his shot this year because already you can see that it's different.
He's taking those times. He would never shoot before. He would
Well,
skate
that's-
around an extra
I'll
10
tell you what-
seconds. and
I'll
make
tell you
a
what the difference
crazy
between-
pass.
the thing I've noticed the difference in Mitchell Marner's shot this year is not the shot. He's always had the shot, is the patience.
And taking the shot. Yeah.
Mitch is picking the goalies apart this year. He's taking that extra 0.5 of a second to look and be like, no, I'm not just going to shoot it. I'm going to score. And he's taking that extra little hesitation and he's like, that
Mhm.
little area there above your shoulder, that's where I'm going to put the puck. That little area
Yeah.
between your blocker and your pad, that's where I'm going to put the puck. And you can see it every time he shoots and scores. It's always because he
He
hesitates
knows.
just that second, and then the goalies hesitate, and they're like, "Oh shit," and then it's over, right?
It's like the
Well,
last
and
couple
most times
goals
he
that
was looking this way
they're the same.
for
Yeah.
everybody else.
It's so good to see, and that's anyway. I'm glad you got the Matthews stats because I wonder does that take in tonight's game, the 2 goals he scored
I'm
tonight
not
as well.
sure.
Doesn't matter. He's
Doesn't
stupid.
matter.
He's
It
stupid
all
good.
depends. I think if the NHL, if it's actually, I can check really quick because if this is updated now to say that we have 20 games played, because it said 19, which I know we're at 20. So let's see.
Are we at 20
No,
games?
it
No, we're
still
at 18.
says, oh no, it is 19. Sorry, 19. Sorry. It's the points that I was looking at earlier. It said we had 28 points. So I knew it wasn't updated.
Okay.
But it is saying 30 points now. So
Well,
I'm
at least
assuming
14, 3 and 2.
So I'm assuming Matthews is up. Yeah, 14, 3 and 2.
65 goals in 88 games. Think about that.
That's unreal.
I mean,
And
109 points, I think it was it?
I don't know why.
holy shit, man. Like when was the last, I'm not going to say when was the last time we've seen Leaf do that. I have never seen Leaf do anything like that.
No,
I
we
was
haven't.
around when Rick Vibe was lighting up. I don't know anything about those days. And that's why it's so shockingly, like this stretch he's on now, where they're talking about, oh well, the only players ahead of him in the longest point streak for a Leaf is Daryl Sittler. I'm like you're talking about Sittler played in the 70s. Like,
Yeah.
are you serious? The kid is just an absolute phenom, and it's not even me being a homer. I mean, I used to say stuff about Kessel this, Kessel that, because I liked the guy, and he was a perennial 30 goal scorer. But my God, I mean, Kessel wouldn't even be able to polish the shoes that Matthews wears. It's just,
Well, you know how like most Habs fans, just like Leafs fans, are very proud. You know, when you have Habs fans, because I mean, I have Habs fans friends on Facebook and Twitter and whatnot, actually talking about yeah, can you imagine? But talking about Austin Matthews and praising him,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Me
Like
too. Me
it's
too.
very weird to see because typically they're like, yeah, well, Kakanyemi is better. Like, okay. But typically
Yeah.
that's what you would get. But when you actually see them praising him up, it's like, wow, maybe he is actually really that good.
I that's my biggest fear is that I underappreciate Austin Matthews. That's my biggest fear because I just don't even know how to react to it anymore. Even like you guys, like when he continually scores these goals, and we got a little group chat going on Facebook Messenger, and you guys are like, "Holy cow!" That's all I get from you guys are like, "Wow!" Like what are you supposed to say to a guy who scores every single night? I've
He's
never seen it.
literally, we were buying Pro Line before the game started, and we always bet on goal scorers. And Adam was like, "Don't bet on Matthews. I already got him." And I'm like, "Yeah, but he's gonna score tonight. Like, I don't want to pick someone else, but we don't want to have the same ticket, so that's why he said don't bet on Matthews." And I'm like, "Well, he's definitely gonna score." Anyway, we're having this argument or whatever, and I don't pick Matthews because he did, and guess who scored? I know, right?
That's where I was dancing.
So I'm
That's
like, I gotta
why he
keep
was
picking him
dancing.
now. Yeah, that's why he was dancing.
Okay.
But
All right.
he's already smirk on there now. But he was kind of rotted because he picked under 6 goals though, so he screwed himself out of it.
No way.
I don't know if it's
Yeah.
ever smart to pick under 6 goals for the Leafs.
No, I
It's
picked
just-
over.
Nah.
So
They're just so loaded up. It's ridiculous. Like they got better players on their third and fourth line. I should say third. Their third line's just stinky. Their fourth line got some really good players that could I think could play up the lineup further. Jason Spezza, I will
Mhm.
die on that hill. He should be given top 6
Man.
minutes somewhere.
yeah, I
But
agree.
anyway, I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Love
Can
about.
Spezza.
I was
Let's
just gonna
talk
say,
about-
can you
okay.
imagine if Ryan, can you imagine though if Maddie wasn't on this heater? Where would we be? Would we be sitting with 30 points? Because
No, not even close.
no.
No,
So
20 maybe. It'll easily lose 5 extra games of what we've won
yeah,
if Matthews wasn't
if he
exactly
wasn't
tearing it up.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's scary to think about because we shouldn't have to, and that was kind of in the back of my mind when we were talking about JT and Willie is, are they? No, like they're not relying on Matthews. No, but is it kind of an excuse for their shitty performance lately? I don't know.
But you can't sit here, there, anywhere and worry about the fact that
No.
you have a guy on your team who is legitimately carrying the team, because what that's
Mm.
called is having a Hart Trophy candidate on your team. And
Very
that's
true.
what the man is right now. Now we're 20
Yeah.
games in. After 50 games, maybe it's obviously McDavid. Maybe it's obviously somebody that we're not seeing right now. But through 20 games, There's nobody in the league going to say that anyone's carried it anymore. Look at it. He's just tearing it up. He's leading in goal scoring by 8 goals, I think, or 6 or 8.
Yeah.
Stupid. He's
running away with it.
creeping up the points
Edmonton
list.
game tonight.
If I'm not mistaken, I think he's 3rd in points now after tonight with another 4. He's well up the points list with Marner. You know, I think the only guy ahead of him again is McDavid. So you'd be hard pressed to have any real argument that Austin Matthews is not the front runner by a country mile for the Hart if he even remotely continues on the path he's on, even if he's at half.
McDavid.
Yeah, McDavid
That's
already has a goal,
McDavid's-
and he already has a goal and 2 assists in tonight's game, and it's only celebration.
I mean, you can't say that. Is McDavid
I
and
Nugent Hopkins on my pro line, and he's
McDavid and
40.
Matthews are up above everybody else. Marner's not far below.
It's a good problem to have, guys. It's
not a complaint. That's for
no,
sure.
man. Imagine if we had JT even operating at 50% right now. We would have 3 guys who would be in the top 10 in scoring. You know what I mean?
That's why I'm I think that's why a lot of people are tearing down JT and Willie, though. It's like, can you imagine if we had 2 of those lines going?
Well, we would have won an extra 2 games.
100%.
The games that we would have been unbeatable this year. Well, maybe not, because the first game was garbage, and they were the only one who showed up was Willie and JT.
But anyway, I don't think that Ottawa collapse probably wouldn't have happened, because I feel like a lot of that game completely changed with that Tavares giveaway and goal. But yeah, anyway, that's a whole other conversation.
You know what? With regard to the Ottawa collapse, the reason I don't really want to talk about the Ottawa collapse is because it's such a one-off of this season.
Yeah.
And when I say one-off, I mean it's legitimately one-off on 20 games, and your team's in first place. You're going to pick apart one game.
Listen, if that's the worst that it gets, and that's the joke loss of the year that the Leafs are always going to have.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, we responded.
We'll take it.
It was bad. It was bad. Even the best teams. Even the best teams can lay an egg.
Yes. Like Bob Cole said, even Betty Crocker burns the odd cake.
Exactly.
Right?
That's so
my Bob Cole saying, guys.
Yeah.
I like that one. Ron.
Actually,
gotta remember
that'll be if we would have done a podcast after the blowout. That's what we would have done.
That's what it would have been.
We'll save that one, fans, for another time.
Yeah.
Even Betty
such an
Crocker
optimistic group.
Cake.
But yeah, it's true.
No. Yeah. All right, so we've talked the game. Let's get into a little bit of something we haven't talked about. It's huge news. The Leafs have made a trade. They've traded one Igor Korshkov and one somebody who I don't really care about.
Never heard tell of.
Warsawski. AHL defenseman.
AHL defenseman. Which is a key part in the trade. Very important. We'll talk about that too. But they've traded for Alex Galchenyuk, former 3rd overall draft pick in a draft that was absolutely stinky. And we already got the best player in that draft, and that's not even close, unless you're talking about goalies. There's a couple of Stanley Cup winning goalies in there. But yeah, if you want to talk about star players, Morgan Rielly is the best out of that draft class by a country mile, followed closely by like Philip Forsberg or something. So
Forsberg was later on down the draft.
Yeah, he was mid first round. But anyway, Galchenyuk to the Leafs. In doing that, let's talk about a small part of the trade. In throwing in our AHL defenseman, it frees up a roster spot. So not even roster. I should say roster. Roster is not the correct word.
It's contract
spot. So they've freed up a contract spot, which gives them flexibility at the trade deadline, which you will need. They ship out a guy who I had high hopes for, but that was 2 years ago. I really wanted to see him make his transition by now, which he hasn't. Do I think he'll play in the NHL? 100%. I really do think Korshkov. Do I think he's going to play at a high level in the NHL? Remains to be seen.
He's been doing well in the AHL this year, hasn't he?
He did well with the Leafs, man. He was a good little Leaf. He was a great Marley. The couple of games he showed up. He was a great Marley. He plays with grit. He plays a really heavy Zach Hyman style game, and he's got now some Zach Hyman style hands. And when I say that, I mean the 2021 hands, not the 2018 hands. So,
but he was a big, strong guy in front of the net, man, and he'd dish it out and take the punishment, give it. So.
I got a feeling that Dubas might try to get him back in some kind of little trade again. And if
you never know,
he tends to do that with players that he likes or that we shall see.
That's one thing about hockey and hockey execs that I hate is guys who fall in love with their own players.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's not what Dubas does. He holds seminars and he holds university halls about not having personal ties to his managerial decisions.
Oh,
it's
wow.
hilarious too. Like people who
Yeah.
hate Dubas are normally the same people who hate Nylander. But
Yeah,
people
we
out there who
know.
hate Dubas bring up things like, "Oh, can you believe that Dubas traded Josh Levo for nothing?" I'm like, "Yeah, it
But
was either Josh Levo or Nylander."
Yeah.
Like somebody had to go.
right,
Like
like
if you
there's only so
remember,
much money,
well, there was only so many spots. Levo just couldn't crack the lineup on a regular
and
basis,
he wanted out too, didn't he not?
only because
Well,
he
give him
wasn't
a
playing.
chance.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, yeah.
but
He did
this is the
because I
thing.
remember. Yeah, Dubas said he would trade him somewhere where he would have a shot, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Because
He was looking out for him.
he couldn't get ice time. We had too many good wingers. We don't have that trouble anymore because we got overpriced. I shouldn't say overpriced. They're not-
You can say
they're-
that.
no, they're not. They're not overpriced when they're putting up a goal a game. they're,
Yeah.
they're not. They're not. Austin Matthews at $11 million
No,
is
he's not.
is
He's not
underpaid,
overpaid. He is
right?
not overpaid.
And Mitch Marner is playing to his contract this year. Thank
Yeah.
God, because
Yes.
I couldn't deal with another. Oh, can you believe they got these overpriced guys? You're never going to win anything. Blah blah blah. I
Oh, you
don't.
got 3 forwards. That's half the salary cap. Like,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
And
We
we're also
know.
we're in first place too.
Can't keep them
Thanks.
all.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we can.
So
Watch us.
no, like I said, we've had to shed some likable guys like Johnson, Captain. These guys had to go. We had no choice, not because we wanted to get rid of them, just a cap issue. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But they've brought in Alex Galchenyuk, who's on a $1 million deal, 1.025 or something stupid.
1.05 or
Yeah.
something, I think.
Yeah. So
Low risk experiment.
low risk. You didn't really give up anything to get him, and if it turns out to be a complete bust, well, you freed up a contract spot for yourself as well.
That's
So now the terminology around players like Galchenyuk, the nickname is the suitcase, right? Because of obviously this is his 7th team now in what 4 years, 5 years, I
Yeah,
don't even know,
something like
something
that.
stupid like that. So what are your guys' early takes on Galchenyuk and where he would fit on this team? Whoever wants to go first, have at it.
I don't know. It just depends on. I don't want to say how serious he is. It's just how well he can get his head into the game. And I was thinking he's already waiver exempt. He's already been cleared. Do you give him some time with the Marlies and just let him find his game and get him some easy success? I don't want to think so because they kind of need help up on the roster right now, and he can play that role.
You know who
And I
could
don't
help
want
the
to start him.
Marlies?
I just don't want to start him on the second line, but I almost kind of want to.
Kind of got to take VC's spot, I think.
Jimmy
Well,
VC
VC's
would really help the Marlies, I think. And I think that's an
Yes.
experiment I'd like to see because he
Send him
has been
down.
nothing but a disappointment to me since those couple of goals he had early in the season.
No, he can't find it.
He was invisible. He's been literally invisible.
And making like really stupid mistakes too. Like
yeah, shoot.
Pierre
And
Engvall keeps doing silly things, and it's just like, oh,
when he gets the puck on his stick, he handles it like a grenade. Just get it off my stick again. Shoot it at the
Yeah.
crest. Just
At the wall. Like, yeah.
That's me at rec hockey's hot potato.
Yeah. He's feeling the pressure, and it's obvious. So, will Galchenyuk feel the pressure? I don't know. The big thing that the media likes to do is say, "Oh, well, he had 130-goal season once when he was 21." I'm
That's
like,
what
yeah,
they'll continue
but
to
did you
say.
look at the following seasons? And no one ever mentions the fact that he's basically, and when I say basically, I mean he is a perennial 20-goal scorer with the exception of last year. Because if you look at his numbers, he scored 19 goals the year after, I believe, 17 the year after that. Don't quote me on these numbers, but it's in that range, high teens. But there were years when he didn't play full seasons either because he was injured, small injuries, played 77 games, played 72 games. It's not like you're getting a guy who was a one-off. He's done it several years on mediocre teams, right? Because the Habs were mediocre back then. They weren't great.
They were, yeah.
I'm
right?
looking at his stats here now, and I mean, he had quite a few 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years of 30+ goal seasons.
No, not 30 goals.
Points, sorry, not goals,
Yes.
points. And another year he had 27, another year was 17 plus 7, so whatever that is, 24. And then with Ottawa, he played 8 games and had 1 point, 1 goal this year.
So
But I mean, and
do
again,
you-
Ottawa being mediocre, and then so he hasn't really been given a fair shot. So we shall see.
Do you
Yep.
put him with Willie and Tavares right now, or do you
I
make him
do.
work his
I-
way
I
up?
do.
I mean, you got to see, of course. Obviously, Sheldon Keefe got to take the practices and everything into consideration. If the guy doesn't look ready, you don't. But if the guy
To
even
learn the
looks,
systems and
Yeah,
everything too, right?
but if he looks remotely ready, it's not like he's going to make that line defensively inefficient. They're already
well,
that.
then
Yeah.
if you do that,
You know what I
what do
mean?
you
I mean,
do?
he can't skate.
If
Yes.
you do that though, what are you doing with Hyman? I
Hyman-
almost kind of
Hyman
feel
and-
like
but-
Hyman's been getting
Goes back
demoted
on the
when
third
he's
line.
been playing
But-
great.
But this is just it. You're not demoting him because you're getting back to the third line that we all want to see, which is
Right.
Mikheyev, Kerfoot, Hyman.
And
Our
Hyman,
third line is putrid. Our third
Yeah.
line is just
if they can just get it going.
terrible. And it was really bad because they recently demoted Mikheyev. He gave him a shot on number 2, and he played okay, but he didn't fix
Yeah.
it. They said, okay, back to the
No.
third line with you. We'll move up Kerfoot, give him a shot. He's looked pretty good, but
Mhm.
hasn't fixed it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he has his centerman tendencies too. I've noticed.
yeah,
I don't know about
yeah.
you guys. He looks like he's getting banged up a bit out there.
Well,
He's just getting
He is,
punished.
but he can take it though. He's a little
Well,
tough guy,
he
guess.
plays a gritty game, man, and I like it.
like kind of
and,
like
uh,
Hyman.
He reminds me of
fine.
Brendan Gallagher. He really does. Gallagher goes to the net a lot more. 'Cause that's his
He's on the
that's his
receiving end
office.
of a lot of abuse.
Yeah, he's
he is,
getting
though.
punished. But like I said, when I look at the third line and I see and Engvall stands out to me like a sore thumb, aside from the fact that he has that hugely long neck to make him stand out. He visually, when he has the puck, it's like he really has no idea what to do with it. He's just stay to the outside and give it to somebody else. There's just nothing, and I mean I'm hard on the guy, and maybe I shouldn't be, but when I look around the team and I'm got high expectations this year, and he's the only guy I can find real fault with, him and VC. 'Cause
Yeah.
VC is just not even there. It's hard to find fault with VC because he doesn't do anything. He doesn't even touch the puck most of the time.
No,
But I just find Engvall is just such an underachiever for me. But can you be an underachiever
was
if
a
you've
big
never
fan of
really
him.
achieved anything? I don't know.
I've always liked him, and I figured he could slot in anywhere on the lineup. This year, I just found he's missing a step. I don't know what it is. Like, I'm watching him trying to receive these passes, and
he's just
they're totally
yeah.
fine passes, but I find he doesn't make that extra effort to pick it up. He lets it bounce off his blade. Like, you don't have to do that. You're in the middle of the zone. You pick that up and you keep skating, but it's just these little tiny things. And I'm like,
Well,
what are you doing? I don't
I
know.
mean, all these guys know they're fighting for a spot. So I've been thinking like perhaps it's the pressure getting some of them can handle it and they're playing well, i.e. Boyd. But then there are some who kind of know that they're being watched and they know they're under this certain pressure. They're trying out essentially for this spot. And then one mistake leads to 2 mistakes, leads to, oh my God, I'm in my head, a snowball effect, and it's just a freaking mess.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering maybe is that Engvall's issue? And then like, I don't know.
And I remember
That's
he
my
never
thoughts
cracked
on
the
it.
he never cracked the lineup at the beginning.
Yeah, and like that
He
could have
said he
just
wasn't-
doused
he
his
wasn't up to snuff.
confidence. And ever since then, it's just been he got this little bit of doubt in him, and it's
just don't-
showing.
I don't see what's keeping him in the lineup. Is what I'm trying to get to. Like when I see a player like Nick Patan there, I don't see anything that stands out about Pierre Engvall that says no, he should be in the lineup.
I'd rather
110.
Patan
Me too.
100% over
I-
Engvall.
I think that the grit and the drive and the determination and just getting creative plays, getting shots to the net, Patan's ability to set up plays. He's like a poor man's Marner in that regard. He's a really good little passer. And when I see him in the press
Yes.
box and Engvall in the middle of the ice, not even on the fourth line, but on the third line, I'm like, I just can't. My mind goes into meltdown. Now this is a big. This is
So
Maybe-
why?
This
Why
is some-
does it-
I'm not-
What if they're just trying to get him some looks because he's on a trade block? Same with
Well,
Jimmy VC.
he's certainly he's not waiver exempt anymore. So the
No.
first time he goes on waivers now, he's either going to the Marlies or going to another team. I
Yeah.
don't think he's played well enough to be claimed. Not with some of the other names that are on waivers all the time. I mean,
No, that's
Corey
true.
Perry hit waivers, Jason Spezza hit waivers, Adam
Those
Henry
guys aren't going to get
waivers
picked up. though.
today. You know, I
I
don't
can
know.
see
Too.
somebody taking a chance at Engvall.
Well,
he's cheap.
he's very low. Yeah, he's a very low cap hit, so that he is kind of like a low
and
risk.
he's a
too, so-
utility player. He's one guy that
And
will.
they're
usually
hurting
does
the
everything
Leafs
pretty
by
good.
taking him too, right? In a sense, a first place team.
I like your guys'
ooh.
optimism. I'm
No,
I'm done with
I'm
him.
not. I'm not done with him, but I'm definitely
I'd move
I'm
him down to
definitely
the fourth
worried.
line.
No, I've been done with him
Before I
for 3 or
give him,
4
like-
games. That's just where I'm to. And like, and that's a
Oh, he
big.
hasn't been good.
It's really great that my first world problems are the third line center.
Yeah.
No,
That's
he did. He
that's
have
really
that big
great.
pass there this evening, like tonight's game. They have that big cross ice pass, like the big loop around to Mikheyev.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a
Yeah.
pretty nifty play. I mean, he's still doing some things all right.
Yeah, and that's why I'm not completely like giving up on him yet, because we have seen flashes of good.
I'm looking at for the money though. Like, who's going
Right.
to replace him? Nick Patan. Why isn't he? Why is he having such a hard time holding down a spot ever?
There's a I trust Keefe over me, my opinion, but I also
That
like to
makes
tell
2 of
myself
us.
that yeah, but I also like to tell myself that they might be just trying to give him some looks. So he's could be on the phone, like Kyle Dubas could be on the phone every day with GMs, and they're like, "Oh, what about this guy? Well, I haven't seen him play. All right, put him in the lineup."
I don't know.
Showcase.
I don't know. I honestly don't know what to say. And like, as unimpressed as I am with Jimmy Vesey, which is very unimpressed, I would
Mhm.
still keep Vesey in the lineup ahead of Engvall.
yeah,
That's
I
how
would too.
poorly I feel about Engvall, but that's just me.
I
No.
would take Jamie VC over Engvall though.
No, not me. I would not.
Yeah, and that's
Also-
and that's fair. And again, these are first world problems here, guys.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
But I guess the last bit of the thing I really want to touch on when it comes to the roster, we're working our way down. So we've come down to the lineup. We've talked first line, second line, third line. We've talked fourth line. What about the guys who aren't playing at all? And when I say not playing at all, I'm talking about Campbell and Robertson. We got 2 guys now who had great starts to the season. Robertson came out of the like a cannonball out of a cannon. He was just
yeah.
looking so good. Got injured
Yeah.
early. Jack Campbell, first game, tweaks something, gets jumped on, finishes his game, wins the game, put up a hell of a game, put up a hell of a fight. Should have never finished it, but that was a selfish thing for him, I think. But anyway,
Says he's fine. He's not fine.
No, I said right,
obviously
like,
not fine.
I know we were all chatting that night, like we always do during the game, and I said to you guys, I was like, I bet you he just pulled his groin, and I think it was you, Ryan, and you were like, no, it's Charlie Horse or something, and then
Yeah.
they announced later that he was out for like weeks, and they never did say what it was though. They just said lower body injury.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It, looked,
But I knew
it didn't look like groin to me because it seemed like he was just favoring a leg. So
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
It
I
was
don't know if he just
weird.
kind of tweaked maybe a ligament or tendon or something not quite. I don't know.
'Cause
And
he
we won't know.
got up, but then it was when he did get up, it was slow. So it was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. But hopefully he has started skating with the team. I know that.
Good
So
news. And Mr.
hopefully,
Robertson,
yeah.
he's playing professional hockey.
Yep,
with
he's
the
playing with the
Toronto
Marlies
Marlies.
right now. Yeah,
Stats
it's,
Playing
lady.
very well.
How's he doing?
1
How's he
goal,
doing?
2 assists in 4 games.
Thank you. So yeah, I mean, I call that a conditioning stint because again, he's better than 6 players in our bottom 6.
Yep.
Oh, lost you there, Kylie.
Yeah.
So what's so what are they waiting for? Waiting for someone to get hurt or get traded?
I don't know. I'm really thinking it's probably just conditioning. I really think that's a lot of it. Is give him the ice time he needs to get back up to speed so that when he throws him into a 15, 16, 17 minute roll, he's ready to
doesn't
skate.
get injured again.
But what brings them up? Like, are they going to waive VC Engvall?
100%. There's no way you don't bring Robertson on this team and keep.
But do you trade first?
Is there anybody that we can move down without having to put on
Waiver
waivers
exempt?
to bring him up?
I don't think
do,
so.
I don't
do we even
know.
care?
Spezza? Like, would Spezza have to cross waivers again?
I don't. If I'm the Leafs, I don't play that game anymore.
No,
No.
I know. But, like, if you just wanted to put him on the taxi squad to bring Robertson up, I mean, I wonder. Like, I don't understand the whole transaction thing this year with that taxi squad.
You can.
Depends on who sits out. Like, I guess that's would have to sit
Yeah.
out just about him in, and that's
I'd like to see Nick
turning off one like to
Robertson
put on
back
another.
up with JT and Nylander. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah,
I would, except I think you need that muscle in there. You need that digger.
True. And
That's why I want
Robertson,
Simmons.
as good and fast as he is, he's still only young. And it's just like, is he really ready yet?
He's
I
a
think he
spark.
is,
I
man.
think
I think he
he's
is
going
too.
to put in some. He's going to put in some goals.
He was just
He's-
dynamite in juniors. He had no business in junior,
Yeah.
none whatsoever. And
Even
then with
look at
STA, they were just so good.
that blue and white game, even like I know that was just
Training
Stands
camp
out everywhere he
2
goes.
years ago.
even
Remember,
even
remember
when we see
training
him.
camp in Newfoundland? Like
Yeah.
he was standout in training camp. I was like, this
I
guy's
was
gonna make
buzzing.
the team. And then
That
he didn't make the
shot of
team. They
his,
sent him back to junior, which is smart. Okay, I was like,
that was
okay,
smart, yeah.
Yeah.
But I
give him
do
that
think
time.
he's ready.
Oh my
this year.
god, he's so good, so
I
good.
mean, even in the bubble, he was excellent.
Yeah. He was
Well,
great.
he scored a goal in the playoffs, first goal.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
So we got 2 guys nearing ready to come back. That's great news. This is as good as a big trade, right? So we've got a guy coming via trade. We've got 2 guys coming back, which are impact players. Going to rest Freddie a bit. I'm going to see Robertson in, which is going to push. I'm leaning towards VC. I can't see him pushing Boyd out because he's actually playing on top power play right now.
That's right.
VC is not.
He's playing so good.
Yeah,
Unless you get a good return for Boyd for you got him for nothing. Flip him for something.
I'd
He's
send Jimmy
definitely
VC
upping
back
his
into the
value
minors.
a little.
But then
too,
again,
right?
like I said, it's you need more of those guys, not less.
And realistically, they're not going to waive VC anyway. They're going to try and waive Patan and send him to the minors because he's the minor league player, as opposed to Jimmy VC, who they signed, who's an NHL player, but he's just not playing.
Yeah.
Great.
In my opinion, I think they're going to keep everybody as long as they can until they have to free up that space. You know what I mean? Keep that depth. Why just make a rash trade or whatever now? Like, was it Darren Dreger, I believe, that said the Leafs they do have somebody in mind or something that they do want to trade for?
Yeah, I remember that was a
Or
couple
was
days
that
ago.
that wasn't
Was
the guy that we
Gronlund London?
got?
No,
Yeah, like no, it wasn't Galchenyuk.
Granlund.
So there's still, and then there's
Granlund.
Granlund,
that
there you go.
whole loophole with the players being on the taxi squad. They can earn salary or something. So if they do it right, somebody said, I forget exactly how it went, but if the Leafs play it right almost by the trade deadline, they'll have like $5 million cap space.
Yeah,
So,
because it's all prorated.
yeah, so there's a bunch of things that's happening behind the scenes that we have no idea about.
Yeah,
But there's stuff gonna happen.
they've got a guy who they pay a lot of money to for that stuff. So
Yeah.
One staff of
last,
like 100 people doing that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
One last thing, I think it deserves a shout out. He's gotten more hate, almost as much as Martin Marincin, maybe more. If you look back at last year, he got a lot of hate. Mr. Michael Hutchison, he just put up a 33 save performance, kept us in the game. He did what backup goalies do. He only let in 3 goals. That's always been the general rule I've told. If you got your backup goal in, you got to score 4. Leafs scored 7. He let in 3.
He's goalie number 3. He did a good job.
I think he did fantastic. He's an NHL level goalie. He's got comparable numbers over the last 100 games to Freddie Anderson, of all people. Wow. If you look back, it's incredible. He had a great stretch with Winnipeg. He did really well in the bubble with Colorado recently. And he played well last night, not 2 nights ago. I mean, one of the goals was off Lettinen skate.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of that, he let in 2 goals, one of which was kind of but that's he's your backup goal.
That Stützle shot, I mean,
yeah,
he should have it, but it's still a great goal by Stützle.
Yeah, I agree. So
I feel with him playing in Colorado during the bubble, during what were they like this? No, wasn't the cup finals? It was the semifinals, wasn't it? I believe Colorado was in with him when their goalie was injured and he had to play. And I mean, he got to gain that confidence, probably the bit of confidence that he had lost being our backup because of those atrocious losses that he did.
And I've said it, and I will die on this hill, that the games that Michael Hutchison lost were not his fault.
No, look at Casimir Kaskasuo.
They just hung him out to dry every night. And I get it. That's the gig. The backup goalie gets the second half of back-to-backs. What he had was not the gig. What he had was a team in front of him that didn't want to play. And
he was set up for failure every time.
It was hard to watch. So
it was.
That's just a quick shout out to Hutchison. Congratulations. Big first win of the season for him. Yeah. I got full confidence in him. He was a great player when he played in St. John's for the Ice Caps. Mm-hmm. He was a great player when he played for the Jets. And I think
I expected him to take the job over Hellebuck.
Yeah, there was a while there where it looked that way.
Yeah,
it's easy to look back and say.
Hutch's clutch.
Yeah, he was good, man. And like I said, I got no issue if it means resting Freddie and risking losing a game. I think he can win a game. So, quick
He's
shout
a
out
little
for
bit
him.
number
safer
three.
now, especially where he got
Great
his
number three.
first game and first win under his belt. So
And we
do
already
feel a
shouted
little
out. We already shouted out the goalposts. So
yes,
Yes.
I would kiss them if I was Michael Hutchinson.
there you go. So I think last on the list, guys, because we're actually clipping along here at a extremely fast rate again. We always try to get some stuff from around the league. Let's talk about. I'll share screen on this actually. Let's talk about Elliot Friedman's recent article. I think it came out today actually. He had his picks or his predictions for who he thought would be the Team Canada 2022 team, Olympic team.
Interesting.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to share that screen. That's the only thing. Let me see here. And we'll see. Oh, here we go. Okay, got it. So, projected Team Canada 2022 Olympic men's hockey team. Let's see the forwards first. We won't read all this crap. Here is the projected forwards. Top line. This is the best top line in the world, in case anyone's wondering.
Wow, look at that.
I'm really proud of our boy Mitch for getting a nod as Connor McDavid's winger. I can't even imagine that.
Yeah.
I can't even
Mitch-
imagine.
Can Mitch like keep up with those guys?
No one
right?
can.
They're so fast, both of those guys.
There's
We have
nobody.
McKinnon. In case anyone's listening who obviously can't see this, they have McKinnon, McDavid, and Marner for the first line.
Thank you, Kylie.
You're very welcome.
So with that top line, obviously your centerman, because this is the funny thing with Team Canada is almost always your top six is usually six centermen. It's hilarious, but they went smart, I think, and added a winger to the mix. So you got Mitch Marner playing his natural position on the right wing, Connor McDavid playing the middle, which he should be for the rest of his life, and Nathan McKinnon, who can play the wing, but normally plays center with the Avalanche. So the only thing that kind of throws me with that prediction is, and here's the reason I don't think it's going to happen, because Nate McKinnon and Sidney Crosby have such great chemistry when they play together.
Was just going to say that myself,
So
actually.
you want to read out that second
In
line for me there,
previous
Kylie?
years. Yep. Second line, we have Brad Marchand, Sidney Crosby, and Patrice Bergeron.
So my question to you is, if you
Good
knew
potent.
if you move Nate McKinnon down to the second line, is Brad Marchand good enough to play with Connor McDavid and Mitch Marner? Would that be a line you think would gel?
Yes.
I think so.
I think so too. I think that could work.
Hate the guy as much as you want. Brad Marchand's
yeah.
a fantastic hockey
Oh,
player.
he is. And I mean, he's kind of like dipsy doodly, kind of the way Mitch Marner is. So, like,
He's
really
creative,
good at, yeah. And like, but he's also not just a disher, he's also a shooter too, which is where Marner lacks.
He can finish, yeah.
So I think it could work 100%. And then have McKinnon, Crosby, and Bergeron for your second line.
Sick.
Can't go wrong there, honestly.
I'm going to throw another idea at you now shortly as we work our way down the list. Line number 3, Kylie. Who did they got?
Jonathan Huberdeau, Braden Point, and Mark Stone.
Okay. Now, Huberdeau, I think with the way he's played the last 2 years, if he continues that trend, he's a lock for the team. He's just
Absolutely.
so good.
He's on fire this season.
And
well, not just this season. But.
He's just better than I thought he was going to be. He's one of those kind of, I don't like calling him a late bloomer because he's always been a good hockey player, but he's really coming into his own. Like he's just a dominant guy. Braden
I do
Point,
fantasy polls, and I've seen the years that he never lived up to what you all thought it was.
Yep,
he was just a couple of years late, and he's here. It's happening. You can't get him in the draft anymore. So
Braden Point in the middle on that line, as you said, is the kind of the standout one for me. And I'm like, no knock on Braden Point. Amazing hockey player. He carries his own line on a Stanley Cup championship team. But is he Team Canada third line center good? Like that was like Ryan Getzlaf a couple of years ago. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to knock it, but I'm going to throw out some other names here very shortly. That guys who I think kind of got dissed a little bit in the construction of this team. And Mark Stone on the wing. And again, hard to argue Mark Stone as a winger. Now the fourth line, which I think with some changes could easily be your third line.
checking line.
Yeah, your checking line, Kylie, is
John Tavares, Sean Couturier, and Steven Stamkos.
Okay. Now my first question. There's one player on that line that stands out, and it's the centerman again. All three are centermen. So
Yeah,
why
that's
in the
why
name
I'm.
of God, for starters?
Why would they have
would you-
Couturier? Yeah,
Yeah,
literally my thoughts as well.
No, I'm cool with that. I
You like
like
that?
the
Are
tour.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but
Another
I
one
would
that disappointed
honestly.
me for about 3 years in hockey polls until he finally showed up, and he's good. He's a star.
Now, me, on the other hand, I'd take the guy that they got listed down below. They've got an extra,
Shifley.
Mark Scheifele.
Yeah.
I'd slot him in possibly between those two guys. I really like Scheifele's grit, the way he plays the game. Him and Tavares with a sniper like Stamkos, I think would
Like
make it for an
Stammer.
amazing third line. And they've got an extra listed here as well as Matthew Barzal. So again, I got no real issue with that selection. But there's some notable names not there. And a lot of them are listed there in the My Rationale section. When you're leaving off guys like Taylor Hall, who won a Hart Trophy not too long ago, one of the best left wingers in the world. You look at that list. There's no left
Not
wing.
that this year in Buffalo is going to be a testament to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but so far not.
Ryan
I could say that's
O'Reilly.
why he's in the honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan
And, like,
O'Reilly.
Ryan O'Reilly.
Ron
that's a
O'Reilly, I
big-
could see him in there. Yeah.
Yep.
Me too.
That's-
I could see
that's
him on making the team.
I
iffy.
would certainly have taken Ryan O'Reilly over Sean Couturier.
That honestly, that was literally my thought just then too.
I don't
Looking
know.
at that list.
I'm
Even Claude
I don't
Giroux. Like,
no, I'm looking at Bo Horvat as well.
that's another name. He's been doing really well this year.
I like him. That's the only two there that I could really argue, and I'm saying that against Logan Couture and Claude Giroux. It's weird to talk about superstars like that, but
Well, I mean,
Ron O'Reilly's the only one that I'm like, maybe I would have put him in above Couturier, maybe, but I don't know. I'm okay either way.
so a big thing too with Team Canada has always been chemistry. You remember the year they sent I think it was Marlowe and Thornton and like Heatley or something stupid, and they kept them together as a line.
Yeah.
Chemistry is always a big thing. Building chemistry, getting chemistry. A lot of the reason why you're seeing, I think, Brad Marchand playing the wing with Sidney Crosby. They've played together in the past. He's playing with his line mate. Is it such a stretch to think that Mitch Marner shouldn't be playing with John Tavares at the Olympics?
I was thinking that
So
as you were getting into this, actually.
I'm not going to say John Tavares is a better player than Nate McKinnon. He's not. He's a comparable player, though. So if they were to slide John Tavares up to play with Marner and McDavid because of the chemistry aspect, and can you imagine John Tavares not having the responsibility of a centerman and only having to worry about shooting the puck? Holy shit.
Might be good.
Slides
Give them what they
Marchand,
need.
slides McKinnon down to either your second or third lines. I mean, there's something to be said, man, for having that kind of depth, right?
I think the only person that would really benefit is going to be John Tavares. Mitch Marner can play with anybody and do fantastic with anyone.
I agree.
And you'd only do that for Tavares only. And I don't think I'd mix that up. And I mean, I'd love to see it. It's my favorite players, you know.
I mean, it's a Toronto Maple Leafs fans' wet dream. That's like kind of McDavid between Marner and Tavares.
To be honest, I would rather watch Marner with McDavid and McKinnon before I see him with Tavares.
The sole reason,
Yeah, just because we've seen it, right?
And you make me, talk bad about him, favorite player, but it is what it is. I want to be honest.
So from my shoulder here, the reason I don't think that's going to happen anyway. That first line, while I understand Elliot Friedman's rationale of having probably one of your best goal scorers on the team playing with your best playmaker, is that Connor McDavid doesn't need a creative player. Connor McDavid is already that himself.
Yeah.
He's proven that. He's an elite level passer. He's an elite level scorer. So I think you're going to find that Marner is going to be with Matthews. Matthews. Oh, that would be so nice.
Tavares.
If only he was born on the other side of the border.
Right.
I think you're going to see Marner with Tavares. I do for the chemistry issue. And I think it's going to be on a second line 2B. I think you're going to see Crosby and Marchand and Bergeron as your second line. I think your third line is going to be Tavares, Marner, and possibly a Braden Point. Right. I would choose Ron O'Reilly personally, but a Braden Point I can understand because he can shoot, and with Marner's setup skills, it's like playing with Matthews. So that would be what I would do. But
that's interesting.
Well, it's like it's a really good problem to have. Which elite level player do you play with? Which elite level player? It's just a matter of chemistry, right?
Literally.
So
yeah.
I really think you're going to see Marner and Tavares play on the same line at the Olympics if they both make the team.
Have they announced the coach yet? For
Not
Team
yet.
Canada?
I don't
No,
think
I didn't
so.
think
I
so.
think it's going to be Butch Cassidy or John Cooper.
Probably. Yeah.
So let's critique the defenseman because who really
Oh,
cares?
all right.
Um,
First pairing.
First pairing, Jay
Shea
Theodore.
Shea
and
Theodore
Alex
on top.
Pietrangelo.
I know.
I'm not a fan.
No, I'm not a fan of Shea
I like the
Theodore
second one.
on the team.
Literally.
I don't actually no. I
like-
like him there, but not up on top.
No, there's a notable name missing from this whole thing that I don't think belongs in your top pair. Your top pair for me would be Thomas Chabot, Alex Pietrangelo. I think Chabot is a lock. I think he's a lock to be partnered up top with Pietrangelo. Cal McCarr, I think, is a lock in the spot that he's in, only because of his age. The next Olympics after this,
So
Cal
good,
McCarr.
man. He's so good to watch.
Holy
he
frig.
is.
Oh man, I love watching that guy.
I really like Elliott going off the board and throwing the extra in there is Bowen Byram, who we just seen play at the World Juniors.
Yeah.
He was so good. Such a great young player. That's just one of those flyers that he's taking, saying, well, you know, by then maybe he'll be in the league, maybe he'll be producing. I don't think he makes the team. I really don't.
Like,
but
I mean,
possible.
he does
Over
it. Like,
Jake Muzzin, Giordano.
Yeah, like even TJ Brody. Like,
Yeah, I guess Brody's age is keeping him out. I guess.
Probably. But I mean, geez, Morgan Riley is.
My question, and I think that you're going to
he's
see it
only
go
like
this
25,
way.
26, but he's not been playing great.
No. You remember a few years back when we had the probably the best Team Canada to ever skate? That wasn't a women's team, because the greatest Team Canada of all time would have been your Team Canada women's team who won in Vancouver. Greatest team ever assembled. Anyway, we'll get to that. We got a
represent
coming on for that at some point. When they went to Vancouver, there was a lot made of Mark Edward Vlasic being on the team. Everyone's like, you're leaving all these other guys home, you're taking Vlasic, and they did, and he was phenomenal because he was a pure shutdown defenseman. And the best, one of the best, next to at that point Brent Seabrook, who was also on the team,
and Bouwmeester.
I mean, the boys just gave up nothing. And when I look at this defensive core that Friedman got rolled out, I'm like, I don't see anybody like that. Thomas Chabot, maybe to a point, he's really good. Alex Pietrangelo
does everything so good.
I feel like that's why he needs like a Muzzin or even a Brody, like a
Like,
stay-at-home defenseman.
That Morgan Riley Dougie Hamilton pairing is not a good idea. That's not good.
Well,
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
His team.
It'd be interesting to say the least.
Well, it will at least open up a lot of conversations as to, if Brian Burke wouldn't have traded for Kessel, what we could have had. But we don't need to go there. Some of the notables left off there, guys. Mark Giordano is the one that sticks out to me the most.
Yep.
That's a guy who I would stick as your shutdown. You know? And Shea Weber. I mean, absolutely. Just a clapper of a shot. He can play in any situation. Those are the guys who I'm like, really? Dougie Hamilton and Aaron Ekblad over Mark Giordano?
I got Mark Giordano. That's the one that's staying up for me the most.
And the most notable snub, I think, would probably be Drew Doughty, but he's not making that team. I just don't see it.
He's just too old now.
His time has passed, and that's like, it really hurts me to think of a Team Canada that doesn't have Jonathan Taves on it. We didn't talk about him up top. He wasn't even in the notables
because in the list.
Because he's sitting this year, right? But I mean, he's Captain Canada. I mean, he's the guy who has always been there right from the World Juniors, right on up through, and he's always performed. He's always been a second line player. And to not even see him mentioned, I think is a bit of a total snub, because there's fellas mentioned who aren't as good as him. I know he's not playing this year. He's injured or whatever's going on with him.
Well, maybe that's why they decided just to leave him out. Oh, now
He's been on a decline as well. His production's gone down quite a bit.
Yeah. And moving on, goalies. We won't spend a big amount of time on this. Carey Price, Jordan Binnington,
Mackenzie Blackwood.
Blackwood.
We don't really have a lot to choose from, to be completely honest.
No, I really like Carey Price. Of course, is gonna be. who you're gonna, you know what I mean? There's no other goalie out there that would take that spot. I don't think.
Carter
That's-
Hart. I don't know why he wasn't mentioned there. Like, I
very
feel like
true.
Carter Hart's going to
Good
take the torch.
call. Good call.
That's
Nice
very
catch.
yeah. Never even thought about that. Is
Oh.
he in the mentioned list?
Like, nope. He's not even like Mackenzie Black will get the third like extra.
yeah.
Like Carter Hart got to be there on the actual
Forget
team.
about him. I don't know.
He's stupid.
Juan Friedman.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of guys who could be in there as your extra. There's a lot of times in your extra spot, you're taking a veteran guy like Marc-Andre Fleury or Robin Leonard, a guy who could still play but would be more of a support role and a cheerleader. You know, you're not
I
going to
think
take
Carter Hart's going to take over. Like, I think he's going to
God.
take Carey Price's spot once Price is done.
I can't disagree with you. I don't even know why he's not
No.
mentioned. That's crazy. Good catch.
Wow.
Way to go,
Guys,
Chad.
it's just has an update. It's 6-1 right now for the Oilers, and McDavid has 5 points.
But
Yeah, he's like, "I'll see you, Maddie. I'll raise you 5 points."
I'll raise you a Daryl Sittler night.
Yeah, literally 3. He has a hat trick, and
my
2
brother
assists.
hasn't been texting me. It's been going on like right behind me. I haven't been paying attention.
Yeah,
So.
6-1.
I'll be on the
They
phone with
already
him,
took.
I guess, after
They
this.
took poor old Markstrom out, and they have big save Dave in there. Who else
Riddich.
scored. Yeah, let me see.
Guys,
Ryan Nude.
I got
Nude's
to tell
got
you,
2.
this podcast has went on incredibly long.
I
I figured
know.
that.
Adam's had supper cooked for at least an hour waiting for me.
We've been away and we've had lots to talk about. There's been lots happening.
Mhm.
So great to see you guys again. But I think we'll
Yeah.
knock it on the head if you guys are good. Anything else we
Yeah.
didn't touch on that you go on to mention by all means?
No, we got what Calgary tomorrow night.
Is it tomorrow night?
No.
Is
no, that's
God, no, can't
No,
be. There's
God,
not a
no.
back to back.
No,
Oh, no.
we're off Monday night. We're playing on Monday and Wednesday night.
Actually, you know what's funny? It said tomorrow, and I didn't realize it was after
It's
12
after
o'clock.
12. Yeah.
And it's almost 1:30 in the morning.
That's done that to me before too. I'm like, what? And then I realized, like, oh yeah.
1:30
Yeah.
on the East
It's
Coast,
1
boys.
o'clock.
We go
Yeah,
hard
so
out
watch
here.
the Battle of Alberta.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I can go finish watching the game. Eat my
Yeah,
snack.
so we can go to bed now. Beating the Habs again. It's all good.
All right, guys.
Woo, go
Well,
Leafs, go.
Here we are. So if you've liked what you heard, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button, comment below. Let us know
Please
your thoughts.
do.
We want to hear your thoughts on Team Canada as well. Any notable snubs that you might have seen. Drop it in the comments. We also want to hear your thoughts on the Leafs and their recent victories as well as losses. So any takes you guys got, hot or not, we want to hear them. So again,
We'll include you in our next video.
yeah, maybe that'd be a good idea. Throw in some hot takes from some people who are watching. So
Leave them down below.
yeah, there you go. So again, on behalf of Kylie, Chad, myself, thanks for tuning in. You can find us at deeksnipeselly.ca. You can find us on Facebook /deeksnipeselly and on Twitter at sellydeek. So if there's nothing else, guys, I'm going to peace out. Catch you next time.
Cheers.
Bye.